Bitcoin Chris, welcome to the Bitcoin Source. Your introduction is so much needed. I could definitely, tell the world all about you, but I kind of want you to introduce yourself to the world. So could you do that for the audience and for everybody out there?
Hey, no problem. Once again, thank you for having me on. My name is Bitcoin Chris, 34-year-old entrepreneur, born and raised in Orlando, Florida, and I do a little bit of trading. I own three businesses right now, and I've owned Bitcoin since 2017, 2016 actually, into 2017, and I'm just here to spread the knowledge and the gospel of Bitcoin and Satoshi. You dig?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chris, for that introduction. And, Chris, like I said before, like I feel like you're a unique person in the Bitcoin space for a multitude of reasons. But one, because you're an entrepreneur and, you've kind of turned nothing into something. And I really respect the grind and the hustle. But before we get into that, I kind of want to know, like, the way back story, like what kind of got you inspired to get into Bitcoin, whether it was books, courses, or even people in the ecosystem, like what kind of got you on your orange pill journey from the beginning?
Absolutely, and again, I appreciate your words, and it makes me feel good that you that you're inspired and that you have those kind of words to say about me. So thank you again. So I actually learned about Bitcoin in 2016, and my biggest component to learning about Bitcoin was actually Max and Stacy, which is why I love them so much. They're like the grandpa and grandma of Bitcoin, and they were talking about it back when it was a dollar, back in 2011. So that's how I really got into learning about Bitcoin, because before that I was into the shit coins and trying to trying to figure out. I didn't even know anything about the space, to be honest with you. But thanks to Max and Stacy, I got educated. I got to learn about the economy and what's going on with the dollar and just like all the political things behind it. So the Max and that it's actually called the Keiser Report, which is no longer available. But I used to watch the Keiser Report all the time, and Max and Stacy were just so knowledgeable and dropping all these gems back in the day, and I used to watch them all the time. So that's how I really got into it. And on British's podcast, when we were on that live, I did briefly touch on how I got into it. So I used to work at Hilton, which I'm actually at a Hilton now. I used to work at a Hilton at a call center, and I'm not exactly sure how I found out about Bitcoin, but I used to not take phone calls because I used to take phone calls to get people to buy vacation packages. So instead of me taking phone calls, I used to buy Bitcoin. I used to trade Bitcoin, and I used to dive into the shit coins. So instead of me actually doing my work, I was actually buying Bitcoin and doing those type of things. So I used to get in trouble just for not taking calls and buying Bitcoin. So that's actually how it started. Instead of working, I got orange pilled, I guess you could say, back then.
Nice. And were you motivated to trade Bitcoin more than work your 9 to 5 because of like the financial gains you could get from it, or was it kind of something where you were trying to like get the knowledge insight of like how to trade? Like what was your thinking there?
So back then, I wasn't as educated as I am now, because as you know, back in 2020 to 2022, I was on Clubhouse all day educating people about Bitcoin and whatnot. But back then, 2016, I didn't. It's not that I didn't care. I just didn't know. I was ignorant to the technology and the benefits of Bitcoin. I didn't know that it was you being your own bank. I didn't know that it was uncensorable, like nobody could take it from you. So I didn't know about that back then. It was really about the money. So back then, I was just buying Bitcoin to make money, because that's all I thought about back then was about money. I wasn't as educated. I wasn't even financially literate back then as well, which is why I teach financial literacy now in one of my businesses, because financial literacy is very important, and people of our culture and our color are not very financially astute. So that's where I come into play. And you don't have to be obviously our color to not be financially astute, but I'm sure more people of our culture and our color can relate to me more than others. But I help everybody out. So back then, again, it was about the money. Instead of me taking phone calls and booking deals, I was buying Bitcoin and just watching it go from $1,000 to $20,000 in 2017. That's a 20x. Never seen anything like that before. And ever since then, I just been on it. Like, I understand now through education and taking the time and doing my due diligence, and again watching Max Keiser, and there's so many other people in the space, Bitcoin Say, and Bitcoin Sessions, and Twitter's a plethora of people on here dropping gems. So just taking the time. A lot of people don't take the time to educate themselves, which is why, like I said, we used to be on Clubhouse every single day educating people about Bitcoin, because it's very important. But we can only do so much. People need to take their time out themselves and learn it for themselves. So Back then, it was about the money.
100%, man. And money makes the world go around, sadly. But once we're in this fiat-based system, everything is super incentivized by money, and it makes sense when you really understand the traditional banking ecosystem and how that plays out. But there was something that you said, Chris, that I wanted you to expound on, and this kind of appertains to the banking system and being educated on how finances in the banking system actually work. So, how do you feel about all these banks failing lately? And do you think that that's going to kind of make people jump on board to Bitcoin to secure their money and to secure their wealth?
To be honest with you, man, I there's a certain amount of people that I think will get it, but I don't think the masses will get it just now. As I previously stated, and also in Bitcoin, the Bitcoin's rooms back in Clubhouse, Americans are spoiled rotten, bro. We do not understand the value of having the world reserve currency. We're spoiled. We can come out. I'm at a resort right now, so we can come out at a resort, have fun, drink, chill. We don't got to worry about inflation, even though it is prevalent. It doesn't hurt us that much right now. But with all the banks failing, I think a lot of people are just going to move it to the big four, JP Morgan, Bank of America. So I think the majority of the people are going to transfer their banks from the small banks to these bigger banks. And then eventually, when those banks freeze their assets or say, hey, you can't access your money right now, which we've already seen videos. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've seen videos of Bank of America already telling people that they can't access their money. So I think Americans, the ones that are not financially literate, are not going to take advantage of the opportunity in Bitcoin until it's too late. And then by that time, I think the CBDCs, they're going to be able to control if you can buy Bitcoin or not. However, I think there's a small percentage of people, and Bitcoin is, of course, all over the world, but not only all over the world, but here in America, that understand the power of Bitcoin, will take advantage of that opportunity and have been stacking. Even if you just learned about it this year, I think a lot of people that are astute and financially literate, again, are going to take advantage of it, because if you're Republican or Democrat, independent, libertarian, doesn't matter. Nobody wants their government taking them and telling them what to do with their money, period. So it doesn't matter your affiliation, doesn't matter your skin color, doesn't matter your religion, doesn't matter your sex. It matters about freedom. America is based on freedom, but obviously our banking system and the laws contradict that in many ways. So again, I think a lot of people are. Hopefully, I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I'm not perfect. I'm not a psychic. So hopefully, I think more people will get into Bitcoin, but I don't think as many as I would like to see are going to do it. I think they're going to transfer their funds from the little banks to the big four, and then when they're in the big four, when those fail, then they're going to wish they bought Bitcoin. And then for those that are a little bit more astute, do their research, understand what's going on, understand inflation, understand fractional reserve banking, they're going to be like, all right, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm going to go ahead and opt out.
In my opinion, I think that um, a lot of people are going to realize, like, I think money is all about trust. And when you see like a top 20 or a top 10 bank blow up, and then they instantly get bailed out immediately, it makes people trust the bank less. And I think that, yes, those big four, those big three, like Fidelity, BlackRock, Bank of America, they already got their client base. Their client base is huge, massive. They have the trust factor. As of right now, they still have it. And I think a lot of banks are just accumulating. Like Fidelity's been mining Bitcoin since, I don't know, 2015 or 16. So I think what they're trying to do is they're just building up a stockpile of Bitcoin so that when things do convert or flip over to CBDCs or some of these other digital dollar models that you see a lot of governments trying to roll out, I think Fidelity will be a major player in saying, hey, you want to come bank with Fidelity? We have Bitcoin. You can self custody your Bitcoin here. We can give you Bitcoin loans. So I think all the banks are starting to wake up and they're realizing, like, the banks that are not on board with Bitcoin right now, they're the ones that are going to go insolvent. They're the ones that are going to have a super negative balance sheet, and the banks that are just not being public about it or saying, Bitcoin is rat poison, but behind the scenes they're really accumulating it. I think that those are going to be the banks that end up being on top. And I think the ecosystem is going to drastically change where there's going to be multiple forks in the road. Some people will go to CBDCs, some people will try to do the sovereign route and just do strictly Bitcoin. And of course, those people might have it a little bit more harder because they won't have the government's assistance to help them with taxes and funding and all those different things. So you're just going to have to be really laser focused on economics and how to really be economically free. So you got to make sure your taxes are on point. You got to make sure that you know how to do peer-to-peer digital transactions in a safe, secure manner. So I think that this is going to be a real eye opener for a lot of people in the ecosystem in the next few decades, where money is going to really take on that responsibility, and we won't have the benefit or the luxury to just have the world reserve
And just
currency and
not.
just pay attention to our money.
Absolutely. Well, I can agree as well. I can agree and I can see where you're coming from. And that's why I said I could be wrong. And I hope I'm wrong because I want more people to adopt Bitcoin. I want people to be more educated, especially financially, because without freedom and without money, I don't think you're going to be able to be obviously free. Money, like you said, makes the world go around. And I know a lot of people say money isn't everything, but really money is everything, So I think it starts with the mindset. And I actually shared this tweet a while ago. I forgot the bank. I tweeted it. I can look for it, but I don't want to be looking around. I tweeted it. I signed my mom up for a bank account, right? I forgot what bank account it was. That's why I said I have to look for the tweet. I'll retweet it later on. So if you guys follow me on Twitter, if not, Bitcoin as Chris Knight 407, and I'm Bitcoin Chris on Twitter. But I signed my mom up for a bank account, right? And in the bank account, I logged in and I looked over to the side, and on the sidebar, it shows that you can buy Bitcoin inside of the bank account. So there are banks that are already positioned for Bitcoin. So like you said, there's going to be those banks that are hip, like Fidelity, and I forgot this bank's name. But like I said, I'll retweet it. Make sure you follow me, and that way you can see it. I tweeted this months ago. Um, but I think there's banks that are on board and that know what's going on, and there's going to be banks that are not. So I agree with you with that as well. So for there to be a bank where you can log into the back portal and buy Bitcoin, we were talking about that before this even happened. But now to see it in real time and to see that happening, game changer, So they know what's up. That's why I tweeted as well. The banks know what's up. Do you know what's up? A lot of people don't know what's up, and that's why we're here to educate them.
100%. And Chris, there's something that you do and you're very technical. And I can just tell by your articulation that like you're very well versed with, reading charts and looking at the analysis of, prices, stock portfolios, things of that nature. And, I wanted to talk to you about something that you're passionate about, which is looking to see the forecast of where things might be in the next few hours, days, or weeks, whether it's a stock, it's a cryptocurrency, or it's just any major play that you see on the charts market. And I wanted to ask you about Bitcoin because obviously we're seeing it kind of rally right now. And I think that's in conjunction with some of the insolvencies we've seen with some of those major banks that we talked about earlier. And I think people are just paying attention more to the Fed hiking the inflation rate. And just, it's harder to get loans, or loans have a higher percentage rate right now if you're trying to buy a car or even mortgage your house. So I think people are realizing that they're feeling that inflation pressure, and that's kind of opening them up to jumping on Cash App real quick and buying $10 worth or $5 worth, or doing self custody with Unchained Capital or Strike or some of these other platforms that allow you to just buy Bitcoin. But do you believe that Bitcoin will reset at like a 30K price range or a 30K RSI? And do you feel that there'll be a retrace in the next coming days if we do hit that 30K mark?
Absolutely. And you mentioned to me earlier that you watched one of my videos. I actually stated in the video that I use Market Cipher. Shout out to Crypto Face. It's a bunch of indicators that they put together. It tracks the money flow. They have momentum waves. They have the VWAP. And I said it's looking like we're going to have a pullback down to about 26. I forgot the exact numbers in the video. And I put an alert in, and it hit those numbers, bro. So I already know based on the technical analysis that that's what's going to happen, So these are points that you can DCA in. These are points that you can trade if you trade, and these are points where you can just make an educated decision on if you're going to buy at this point or long at this point or sell at this point, or if you sell and trade, that is. But that's that absolutely. So if you want, I could pull up the charts and we can take a look. All right, perfect. So as you can see here, it looks like this is what we call a bear flag. Unfortunately, this looks like we're going to dump. So, but however, this is normally a bear flag. But Bitcoin does the unthinkable. Like I said, whatever you think Bitcoin's going to do, it usually does the opposite. So as you can see here, last night I made a video, but I didn't upload it. I said this is looking like a flag, and I drew this last night, and I said we can possibly go up, but Bitcoin usually does the opposite. So it did the opposite. It actually dropped down. So this is what we call a bear flag. Usually this is what happens with a bear flag. And again, you're absolutely right. I used to hate TA, but there's a people trade. So we can hate it all we want, but people with money trade. They use these charts. People that are that got money, they trade. So we just gotta respect the charts. As much as we know that Bitcoin doesn't really care about charts, and Bitcoin is the best digital performing asset on planet Earth, people still trade. There's still whales out here that manipulate the price. They can sell all their Bitcoin, make you sell, then they'll buy it all right back up. They're playing these games because they know what time it is. So I just drew this bear flag. As you can see here, I made the flag here. I made the pole, and then this is the flag. So we could come down here, which I said in the earlier video, we can come down to about 26,000. I said we can come down to about 25, 26. And I also mentioned that, look, these are this on the right hand side. These are volume profiles. So this is where the most trading has happened. So usually, if we lose these levels, we're going to come down to the next level. So that means the next level is at about 24,000, 25,000. It wouldn't surprise me if we come down that way. And also with the bear flag, we can come down to 25.8. So now you know possibly where we can go. TA is not 100%, but it gives you the insight of what could possibly happen. So you just got to keep that in mind. So again, this on the side here is the volume profile. This is where the most trading and volume is. So usually when we lose a level, we go down to the next point of where the most volume is. And so right here, we're in this volume pocket here. We could come right back up and go up to 30,000, which I think is possible. I think in the long term, we're looking at, as I mentioned before, I drew these flags on the daily. So we're looking at the hourly chart, but on the daily, I drew a flag again in my Bitcoin videos here. Flag, pole, baby flag. I said, hey, we can hit 31,000, come back. And then if we really get the pump, if these banks really fail and you know, USD start really tripping and things start going haywire, I said 34,000 is my short term goal as far as Bitcoin hitting the price target. But we're in this bull flag right now, so we can come all the way down to 26,000. We can lose that. If we lose that again, 24,000 back to where this volume node is. So I used to hate TA. I used to talk crap about TA, and when you understand that if a bunch of traders and people that with money are using these exact analysis to trade and to sell and to buy, then you need to be astute to that, and make informed decisions. So this is Market Cipher, one of Market Cipher's indicators, and this is on the daily. So I said in my video, hey, this is coming down. We got a red dot. That's not good. We got the money flow leaving. So this green wave here, that's money coming into the asset. On top of that, you see this money flow coming up. That's when Bitcoin was going up. So if we go back here, what date is that? January. So from January, and this is on the daily chart. So from January, we've been going up. Money flow's been going up. Came down a little bit. Money flow going up. So it's all in waves. So everything goes up and down. So I said in my previous video that, hey, we're looking like we're about to come down, and look at that, we're coming down. And hopefully, I think we can come back up. But I said this is also looking like a bullish divergence. So that means this could come all the way back down here. Unfortunately, we can come down. I hate it. I don't want it to come down, but we got to be realistic. If we come down here and possibly come back up, so we'll see what happens. This is just my my educated guess. We might not even come down that way, but you just want to be astute and just be aware of what could possibly be happening. And then I'll jump back to the hour. On the hour, we got these green dots here. So, and money flow's looking good on the hour. So looks like we can come back up. We also got the green dot here. So, this would be a good place to long, so that's what I'm going to do. Based on the short term time frame, we can come right back up to what I stated in the video, 28.5, possibly reject or break through. If we break through, again, next level, 30,000, 34,000. And even months ago in January, I said it's going to be 25, 28, 30,000 in that order. So I just tell people what I think is going to happen. I could be wrong. I'm not perfect, but that's basically how I look at it. And I just try to make an educated decision. I trade with a little bag. My big bag is with Bitcoin, and I hodl. And then I trade a little. I have a little bag that I just trade with every now and then.
Yeah, that's smart, man. TA is one of those things that's kind of like super confusing and complex at first. But just for me,
So I'm
like I'm familiar with charts, I know how to read them. But a lot of people from our community look at charts and it's just like, what is this? This is like Japanese. So, we have brothers out here like you that I'm sure that, people can just watch your YouTube channel and they can learn a lot from just sitting in and listening to your TA analysis about where Bitcoin is going, what the trends may be, if people are putting cash flow into the asset or if they're pulling back. And I think that a lot of times people just need to just watch. if you try to study and read as much as you can, you might be more confused. But I think if you just sit back and just watch a YouTube, put your headphones in, and just listen to what the analyst is saying, I think that that will really help a lot of people understand charts. And like Chris said, you don't really necessarily need to use charts because Bitcoin's going to do what Bitcoin does. But if you are a trader, I wouldn't really recommend that for the novice or for the newbie. That's something that you got to kind of have some skin in the game, of course. But for the people that do want to trade Bitcoin, I think looking at that technical analysis will give you a little bit of headway of exactly what the asset's going to do. And then you can kind of move and play on that. You can do an option, a put, a long to kind of figure out like what you want to do with your money. But of course, you know, do your own research, invest at your own risk. And this is not financial advice. This is just a conversation between me and my brother Chris on Bitcoin and TA analysis.
Absolutely. And let me also interject because I want to tell people a lot of people are in stocks, right? And that's a okay. If you cool with 5-10% in a year, hey, if you want that baby bread, have that baby bread, right? But for us and Bitcoin, Bitcoin in 2020 went from, oh my God. And it's so funny, bro, because it's one thing to say it, but when you got proof and when you got posts of you talking your talk and you being right, bro, it's a whole nother game. So in 2020, before the crash and the hype, or actually when the crash was happening, I told all my friends, all my family members, posted it on Facebook, posted it on Twitter, posted it on IG, this everything, everybody that I could reach out to, and been telling them, hey, it's $3,000 right now. Buy Bitcoin. Bitcoin went from $3,000 to $69,000, and I have proof. It's not that I'm talking and I'm just saying that to say that. No, I have proof. So Bitcoin went from there. But I say that to say this: if you don't want to dive into Bitcoin and you're scared, that's cool. Be scared. We gonna have fun staying poor because we gonna be all right. Just kidding. But if you watch Bitcoin, there's Riot, there's Hut, there's Mara, and that's what I do as well. I look at, because when I know Bitcoin's gonna pump, then you know that these are mining companies that are traded on the stock exchange, right? So if Bitcoin's gonna pump, you can make a lot of money just doing puts and calls. I do calls pretty much because when Bitcoin's going up, then you know that these stocks are going to go. I've made 250%. Posted it on Twitter on Mara calls when Bitcoin was pumping a week or so ago. 250%, guys. That means you put 1,000 in, $2,500. That's what you would have made. You would have $100 in, $250 off $100. So if you just follow, like you said, the technical analysis, I know some people don't like it. Some people may not be versed to it, but just study it. It's a way for you to create freedom and just to create cash flow, and you can make some money, even if you have $50 or $100, that's better than $0. And you should be investing in general, I said this in the Black Bitcoin Billionaires room. I said this in Swan Bitcoin room. I say this on Twitter. I say it to everybody. I used to buy, and there's nothing wrong with buying nice stuff, and if you have the money to buy Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Prada, I'm a recording artist, like you mentioned earlier. We got to be fly, right? But I understand that a lot of these things are liabilities, because if I would have bought $800 worth of Bitcoin in 2016 instead of that $800 Louis belt, I would have $26,000 because Bitcoin was about $500 to $800 at that time. So instead of that Louis belt sitting there, I don't even wear my Louis belt, bro. It literally sits in my closet. I don't even wear it. I wear my Gucci belt more than that, but you know, I don't care about those things anymore. And Bitcoin helped me to realize that a lot of things are really just, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Once you learn about Bitcoin, it puts your mind onto things that actually matters. Being financially literate and teaching financial literacy helps people understand that, hey, buy assets that are cash flowing, and then you can buy the stuff that you like with the assets that you bought that are cash flowing.
Yep, and that's smart advice because, in particular, like our culture, the African American culture, and this podcast is doing its part in kind of educating people on Bitcoin. But these are good things to talk about as well. Just in our culture, there's a lot of instant gratification. There's a lot of ostentatious spending, watches and jewelry and all that stuff, and that's cool. But like Chris said, man, you got to kind of build your asset portfolio to a point where whether you're getting dividend income, passive income, even mining Bitcoin, these are all forms of passive income. Learning about Bitcoin, learning about financial empowerment, not even literacy, but empowerment. You have to empower yourself to be financially astute. These are all things that are helpful that brothers like Chris do on his social media platforms on Twitter. If you follow him, please do follow him, and you can really learn a lot from Chris. I learn a lot, and I've gotten to Bitcoin in 2017, and I know a little bit about the financial fundamentals and things like that. But you can always be a student in the game, no matter what level you're at in your Bitcoin journey. And I just wanted to thank Chris for all the insightful things that he's done on this podcast so far. But I really want to talk about your relationship with Swan and even your rap career, because like I've watched a couple of your videos and I'm like, yo, these are fire, man. Like you got the you got the nice visuals, you know what I'm saying? You're chilling on by the pool and everything. And I just wanted to let people know that like you can be multifaceted in this Bitcoin ecosystem. You don't have to just be the typical computer nerd that just loves internet money. Like you can do different things. You can be a trader, you can be a rapper, you can bounce around and have different perspectives of your creative control. So I wanted you to kind of just expound a little bit on that, like Chris, like your rap journey and like how passionate you're about that.
Hey man, I want to say thank you, bro, because I do music out of love, and at a young age, I want to say this as well. At a young age, we used to watch Lil Wayne, we used to watch all the big rappers, and that's what we wanted to be like. Instead of learning about business, right? Instead of learning, and we didn't have those type of role models to look after. Unfortunately, like you're either a basketball player, you're a rapper, or that's like the way out for us in our community. Unfortunately, but everything happens for a reason. You live, you learn, you grow. So I love music in general, and I always have a passion for music. So I wasn't gonna stop doing that for anything. So I always make music, and like I said, I appreciate you letting me know that you enjoy the music, because it costs a lot of money to make music. And if a lot of young people wanted to get into the industry, but then they get burned by not knowing the business, right? Because they sign contracts that are not good for them. They get in these 360 deals, or they sign and then they don't get put out. So there's a lot of different things. If you're not mentally ready for that or business astute, then you're just going to be SOL, unfortunately. So I love music, man. I've been rapping since what, 20, I don't even know. I've been rapping for a long time. But I just love music, man. I've been rapping for a pretty long time. We got a ton of music that's not even out yet that we're going to be putting out. Me and my boy Stripes. My boy Stripes got that voice, bro. I wish I could sing so bad, but I can't. He sings, and I songwrite for him, and we just come up with some dope music, man. And it means a lot, like I said, for you to say that, because I put my heart into the music, and I feel like I wish I had a more bigger audience of people that enjoyed the music that I put out. But in time, and like I said, I do it for me. I love the music anyway, whether a million people hear it or one person hears
That's
it.
a fact. And this episode has been incredible, Chris. Like I learned so much about TA, your journey. You as a rapper turning into a Bitcoin trader, and how you're just so humble and grateful to just be able to give back to people. And I think that that's what this is all about. That's really standing in what the Bitcoin ethos is all about. So having a brother like you on this show is always instrumental to me in my journey. So brother Chris, before you leave, I just want to make sure that you give people your social media handles and any future endeavors that you might want people to know about.
Absolutely. Again, thank you so much for having me on. These conversations are very important, and I'm happy to be spreading the knowledge and the gospel of Satoshi. And of course, I believe in God. So, God got us. We just got to have the faith and keep pushing. So, again, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It means a lot to me as well. And I'll make sure to share your podcast and everything that you do moving forward out with everybody in my circle. So make sure you follow me on Twitter at Chris Knight 407. It's going to be the same on IG, Chris Knight 407. Same on Facebook, Chris Knight 407. Same on TikTok, Chris Knight 407. I'm not really popping on TikTok like that because I don't really post on TikTok, but I know it's a very powerful social media application. I'm going to start posting more on there. But make sure you also follow me and subscribe on YouTube. It's going to be youtube.com/the @Bitcoin Chris for the Bitcoin info. If you want to listen to my music, it's at youtube.com/Chris Knight 407. So make sure you just follow me, guys, and I'll make sure to follow back. And it's like, share, subscribe. And then my future endeavors, my brand new business is called Colla Pop. I'm super excited for it because I understand the power of e-commerce. So I want to encourage anybody and everybody listening, hey, if you can, invest in knowledge, invest in learning something that's going to help you to make money. And I'm actually diving into e-commerce. And in e-commerce, I'm going to be selling these supplements called Colla Pop. It's really for women that are interested in restoring their beauty and also burning fat. So it's collagen, helps them restore their skin, hair, nails. Women love to look good. So I'm going to help them achieve that with collagen. And it's also a fat burner. So if you're a fitness woman and you like to do those type of things, and that's going to be, God willing, $1 million plus business. So I'm super excited. And that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm really focused in on now. And I have 2 other businesses as well, helping people fix their credit. So if you need your credit fixed, probably now is going to be a good time, right? Because interest rates are high. So if you fix your credit now, by the time they come back down and hopefully everything gets back to normal in the future, who knows, you'll have good credit to get those things that you want, or you can open a business, right? Because I posted a video on my brother interviewed me. I got my brother over $100,000 in business credit. He started his Airbnb business. I help other clients as well start their business. And in order for you to start business, you need money, you need capital. So instead of you going to your job, right, working 9 to 5 and spending your hard-earned money to start your business, use the bank's money, guys. Use the bank's money, and that's what I try to preach to you guys. Use the bank's money. It's there. Use the bank's money. So with that being said, Bitcoin Chris checking out. I appreciate you for having me on, man. Thank you so much, man. It's been a blessing. Boom.